Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and thank you so much for joining today. Thank you. If you are new here, my name is Milton Fonkwa. For those who know me already, I am the Anointing Village Boy. Thank you so much for coming back. For my new subscribers, you are highly welcome to the platform. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about studies in Switzerland, visa requirements, insurance, residency, jobs, and of course, application requirements to study in Switzerland. Alright. Now, guys, let's first of all talk about Switzerland. Where is Switzerland? Switzerland is a landlocked country in Europe. Okay, it is found in Europe, in the somewhere around Central Europe, with neighbors like France, Austria, Liechtenstein, Germany. All right, in all the north, west, east, south direction. All right, all the directions of the cardinal point. Okay. So now in Switzerland, their federal capital is in Bern, but most of the people in Switzerland live in Zurich, Geneva, and Basel. Okay, these are the three biggest cities in Switzerland. And Switzerland is basically made up of 8.5 million inhabitants. It's not a big country. It's a small country in terms of population, but it's a big country in terms of finance. Okay, so to live in Switzerland is not that easy. I have a video I talked about proof of funds to study in Switzerland, where I mentioned 21,000 Swedish krona, all right, no 21,000 Swiss krona, all right, that is the money used in Switzerland, which is equivalent to like 19,200 plus US dollars. All right, that is a huge sum of money. So before you go study in Switzerland, make sure you consider your financial ability. All right, but make sure you watch that video. It is titled proof of funds to study in Switzerland. All right, first of all, before I proceed further, let me start with the requirements you will need to apply for a bachelor's degree in Switzerland, because each country has a policy. For example, I will be talking about Cameroonians here. There are qualifications from Cameroon. If you are from, let me say, if you are a Cameroonian and you want to apply for a bachelor's degree, this is what you need to know. You need to use your ordinary levels and advanced level certificates. All right, those are the documents you will need. All right, in case you didn't know, Switzerland, they also have their own language. Though they speak English as well, they do speak a variety of other languages, but the Swiss is also their language, which means that if you are going to Switzerland, remember they speak French too, and Cameroonians speak French and English. So if you are going to Switzerland and your program is in French language, because there are some universities that teach French languages, or lectures are basically conducted in the French language, know that you are going to show proficiency in French language. All right. If you are an English speaker and you are going to a school like University of Zurich, all right, make sure you have your IELTS exam or the certificate. Okay. Now, for in addition to that, now for economic students and MBA students, remember, I mean Masters in Business Administration, those who want to offer that course. Remember, you might be asked something called the GRE, Graduate Records Examination, or the GMAT. All right, I hope we all understand what these terms mean. Those are basically some language proficiencies. All right, so that is for bachelors. Now, if you are a Nigerian, or if you are coming from Central or West Africa, I hope those around Nigeria, Liberia, and other African countries, there is something they use. They have, it is called a WAEC certificate. All right, the WAEC certificate, that is basically the certificate Nigerians will need in addition to their English proof. All right, and some other students like those from Liberia as well, and all other African countries that uses WAEC and GC ordinary levels and advanced level. All right, so you need that. Students of economics, accountancy, masters in business administration, do not forget I mentioned something called GMAT and GRE, so always check the school website. Now, the other documents you need if you want to apply for a master's degree program, you need your bachelor's degree certificate or the attestation. All right, and you also do need the transcript. If you are applying for a PhD program, you need all these documents I've mentioned alongside your master's degree and the transcript as well. All right, guys, I'm so sorry, you may get some noisy sounds coming from the building. I think there is a repairs going somewhere around the building. All right, with no further ado, let's keep moving. All right, So sorry for the noise. Now you have to also understand that there is a policy in Switzerland. I am going to elaborate on this. If you are applying for a Swiss student visa or the Switzerland student visa or a student visa to Switzerland, please make sure that you are not above 30 years. All right. If you are above 30 years, do not apply for a bachelor's degree program to study in Switzerland. All right. This is the reason. Sometimes the Swiss government or the Swiss officials or the diplomatic guys, those working at the embassy, at the level of the embassy or the consular, may think that you are not going to go to school, all right, if you are above 30 years, because that is a very big age to go to start, for someone to start doing bachelor's, though sometimes conditions do make people. But if you're above 30 years, please do not apply to Switzerland, all right? For a student visa, you may not get the visa, all right? So just know that. But you can try to apply for masters or PhD. PhD is normal, all right? Masters is normal. But remember, I said you are not, you may not be given the visa for bachelors if you're above 30 years. But remember, if you don't try, you can never succeed. So try it, all right? So that is what I can say. And now, because sometimes they may tend to ask you some questions at the embassy, that why have you not gotten a master's or a bachelor's while you were still young, around 25, 26? What was the problem and things like that? And remember again, the financial responsibility, that 21,000 Swiss franc is huge sum of money, all right? Sometimes they will focus on that to make sure that you are okay, all right? So that is what you need to know again. And remember that the 21,000 Swiss franc will be put in a bank in Switzerland, all right? I mentioned that before. I hope you don't understand, you don't forget it. And again, when you go to Switzerland, let me say, before you go to Switzerland, make sure that you go around let me see, the winter semester, the semester that begins in September, okay, in September, because, and again, there is another policy in Switzerland. When you just enter Switzerland as an international student, you cannot work for the first 6 months, okay? You can't work in Switzerland for the first 6 months. That is the law, okay? So since you cannot work for the first 6 months, I would suggest that if you want to go to Switzerland, go between September, so that you take September, you take October, you take November, you take December, January, and February, all right? Now, you have spent your 6 months. And as summer is approaching, because normally you can only work part-time in Switzerland, all right? You can only work part-time in Switzerland, and maximum should be 15 hours a week, all right? And now, for the summer, you can work all through the summer, and summer holidays is just 2 months. So if you move to Switzerland from September, you will spend these 5 months. Around March or April, summer is approaching, okay? You can now start working, all right? You can now start working within this period. I hope it's advantageous and you understand why I say go from September, because I actually thought about it and say, let me explain to you guys. So that is the advice I can give. As I said, you cannot work in Switzerland for the first 6 months when you enter there, all right? And when you work for the summer, you will be expecting a pay. You should be expecting a pay of about 17 to 18 Swiss franc, all right? That is huge sum of money. Remember, Switzerland is very expensive to stay in or to live in. So automatically, when you work, you will be paid very well, but you will also be spending, all right? But if you get good pay, you may save as well, all right? So that is what you need to understand. And after 6 months, you will be given, let me say, after your study duration or after your degree program in Switzerland, you will be given 6 months to look for a job, okay? You would be given 6 months to look for a job or to get a visa to permit you to work, all right? If you don't want to do a PhD, okay? So the maximum you can get in Switzerland is 6 months after your visa. That is the post-study visa. Now, you can get 6 months to look for a job, and sometimes the companies will want to really consider your degree, the degree in which you did. Again, as an advice, if you are an international student going to Switzerland, know that if you want to really work in the job market in Switzerland, make sure you study something like the engineering, all right? Engineering or sciences, because sometimes the social arts or social science programs are the companies in Switzerland don't really look into that, but that does not mean that you are not going to get a job. Okay, you are going to get a job, but if you have the ability or the possibility or the resources to study a science program, right, science related or engineering, that should be something worth doing. All right, because sometimes, as I know from what I know, is most of the companies sometimes will not want to take people from the social part. All right, so note that down. And again, as I said, if you don't want to do a PhD after you graduate, you have maximum 6 months to look for a job or you exit Switzerland. Okay, but if you can't, go for a PhD. But remember, you cannot live in Switzerland for more than 8 years as an international student. Okay, after 8 years, anything being studentship expires. So now, but you can only apply for a permanent residency in Switzerland after 10 years. So you see the trick. If you are in Switzerland for let's say 8 years maximum, and you can only apply for a permanent residency after 10 years, it means that you should start studying in Switzerland for at least your bachelor's level up to the PhD. All right, that way you can easily get the permanent residency. It is easy. You can as well get the permanent residency if you work with their companies. All right, and make sure before you, when you are working with their companies, you can always get recommendations. All right, if you can get recommendations from people, you can get recommendations from a company, or maybe say the people know you of as someone who is nice. All right, you are friendly, you always pay your taxes and things like that, you don't cause trouble. It is easier for them to give you the residency. All right, the residency, or you can easily apply for the passport and you will get it. All right, as I said, if you are going out of schools like engineering schools, especially ETH Zurich, right? The engineering schools of Zurich and Basel, you will stand a high chance of getting a job in Switzerland. All right, they consider a lot of let me say they consider engineers. All right, when looking at their CVs a lot. That is how Switzerland is. Okay, so the schools in Zurich are good schools to consider. Schools in Basel are good schools to consider. Okay, there is another school in Geneva. It's also an engineering school. It's a good school to consider. So check all those universities and you apply. Okay, take note that you also need an insurance. You also need an insurance, and the insurance is every 3 months. Okay, you need an insurance to cover you up, and you will be paying for it. I think that should be closer to 60 Swiss franc, and you will be paying 60 Swiss franc, and that should be every after 3 months. It's not that expensive, but you need an insurance as well. And remember that you also need the language. All right, if you learn the Swiss language, it is going to be very good for you. And if you want to get the residency, as I said, you need to know their language. All right, you need to know how to speak Swiss. All right, you need to know how to be hardworking. You need to get recommendations by people or from people. You must not have borrowed money from the government. All right, they must not know you as a criminal. No criminal record. You mustn't have a criminal record. If you have a criminal record, you have borrowed money from the government, people know you as someone who is bad, you may never get their residency or their passport. All right, so you have to be very careful when doing things like that. I hope I'm not ranting too much, and that is what you need to know. As I said, to get permanent residency in Switzerland, you need to stay there for 10 years. All right, sometimes you can get it earlier if you work with their companies, or if you work with them, or if you have some recommendations of people recommending you. All right, it's easy to get as well. So I hope you understand it. These are basically the things you need to apply for your school. Is those certificates I mentioned. Don't forget, you need IELTS, you need GMAT. In case your university insists, you need the most important part, the proof of funds. 21,000 Swiss krone, all right, Swiss franc is very important. As I said, watch the video about proof of funds, okay, so that you understand some of these little things I'm talking about. I hope you find the video helpful. If it is, please give it a thumbs up. Press the like button and do not forget to subscribe. Please, you guys are not sharing the videos. Why? Make sure you share, all right, so someone somewhere can also understand some of these things. Thank you so much, guys. Remember, I said you need an insurance to cover you in Switzerland, all right, and you are going to be paying for it every 3 months. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you find it helpful, as I said, please do not forget to share, and until we meet again, peace.